Do you want to bet this college football bowl season alongside Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels? Well, we have you covered. When you look among the list of our handicappers, some are known more for specific sports, and when you mention college football, two that jump out are Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels. Mr. Dave Koken has been the all-time profit leader in college football since he joined Wager Talk, and while the regular seasons have been profitable, his performance in the bowls have been even better, going 45-22-1. That's 67%. Ralph Michaels was a previous general manager of Phil Steele Publications, voting on all significant college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy, before joining Wager Talk. Ralph's run and bowl action has been stellar, going 44-20. That's 69%. Our bowl package price will be $199 with the $149 early bird. You can lock in Dave and Ralph's both for only $198, coming out to just $99 each. That's Dave's 68% and Ralph's 69% bowl records, including any 5% best bets released in bowl season for just $198. Access will cover any college football releases from the Bahama Bowl on Friday, December 16th, through the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday, January 9th, from both Ralph Michaels and Dave Koken, and include any 5% best bets. So act fast before pricing goes back to regular price.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Friday to you now, the day after Thanksgiving. Certainly hope it was a profitable and fulfilling day for you. If not, plenty of action across the sports betting landscape here today. College football already underway, bunch of rivalry games coming up tonight still and tomorrow. We're going to break down a few of those for you, and we're going to do it with our Friday crew. Here they are. Some of the most profitable dudes you'll meet at wagertalk.com. In fact, all three continuing to cash tickets here in the college football landscape is Adam Brigger in the house, as is Tony Finn chilling with us, and Bryan Power in the house. Bryan Power, always a pleasure to see you here today. Trick, what is going on, my man? I see, well, we got a whole lot of things lined up ready to roll here, not just tonight, but this weekend. Continuing to be one, if not the most profitable dude in college football this season. So tell us, what do you got in store, locked and loaded already at Wager Talk?
Yeah, Joe, my luck in football and basketball are not the same, right? Like I have Syracuse earlier in the week. 3.5-point underdog goes to overtime and loses. I have a 5%er yesterday on the Giants. I get a missed field goal from one of the better kickers in the league, and the Giants come down the field and get me the money. So, listen, we'll take them any way we can get them. Nice 2-0 day for me yesterday. I've got another 5% NFL play up for Sunday. And, Joe, I just had to as I told you last week, that hoodie needed to go. If Wake Forest won, they won by $1 million. I told you that was probably going to happen because I was 0-5 in the hoodie. So I wore the shirt that I wore to the Clemson-Syracuse game earlier this year, which was coincidentally the last time Syracuse covered a spread. So hopefully we can get them going this weekend. I think they might win finally against Boston College. I'll even say I lean toward them covering. But yeah, it's got a lot going on this weekend. College hoop, college football, NFL. One of the best weeks of the year. Feast week, Joe. One of the best sports week of the year. Hopefully we can finish it strong.
Gobble, gobble, people. Plenty of action across the board. Bryan Power, I know you got to be nibbling a little bit here today. What do you got locked and loaded over at Wager Talk for us?
Well, while it's a neutral shirt, I am wearing orange today. And also, like Trig, similar story kind of the week. Should have just kept it a traditional Thanksgiving yesterday because I won all of my American football plays. Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl had the over on New England and Minnesota. That'll be one of the easier plays I've got all year in the NFL. And the first half of my teaser cashed as well with the Patriots. So football was great, but the World Cup was absolutely dreadful in the morning. So the less said about that, the better. But we're back at it today. We've got a deal running right now. $149 gets you the rest of my college football season. It's a pretty good deal. I'm up near the top in college football right there with Trig. Got one play that is going to kick off here as we are on the air. And then I've got 5 college football plays locked and loaded for tomorrow, including a 5% play. So very busy weekend on tap and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. And Tony Finn, I know you're getting ready here. I know you still got some NFL plays going on, NBA plays. You're all over it. So talk to us. What do you got ready to go here tonight for us?
A big weekend starting tonight. After the show, I'll try to finalize everything, but I'll just mention this. I really do have a discount this weekend. It's a coupon code almost free. Everything's 50% off. Everything's a bit of an embellishment. Daily packages, daily plays, and one-day passes. 50% off. I tried to get 50% off the new special. We have $69 7 days, but they kind of said, we'll happily just deduct your account the other half of that. I said, okay, let's do it. Football this afternoon, NBA tonight, college football tomorrow, NFL Sunday, and a play on the Monday night game. Only way for
That's it. Got to do it. Locked and loaded, guys. Feast week. Reason not to make it a profitable evening. Let's see if we can find some edges in these three games we're going to break down for you here today. We're going to start in the Iron Bowl here is Auburn, Alabama. Getting ready to do business. Auburn, new coach. Did they announce it? Did they not announce it? Is it Lane Kiffin? Is it not? Egg to the iron? Who knows? But we do know that 22 is the number right now. That's what Alabama would be laying. The total 50.5. This will be tomorrow at 3:30 in the afternoon. Trig, always a bit of a craziness in this rivalry, no matter how good or bad Auburn is in past years. So what do you think the chances of them staying within the 3 touchdowns is this year?
Joe, I think it's better than the chances of Alabama winning this game by like 30. I guess that's, I'm not going to have a bet in this game, but I would have to say at that number and the way the season has gone, I've said it on this program, on Wager Talk programming a bunch this year. I just think Alabama is a good top 10 team. They're not your typical top 5 headed to the college football playoff Alabama team. And therefore, I don't want to lay 22 points with them. They're 10th in the SEC in rush defense this year. Their secondary is undisciplined. They commit penalties. They do everything that a team does to keep teams in the game against 22-point spread. Now, last week, that's an inferior opponent. I'm not, but this is Auburn. Like, Auburn can still play. And Auburn can run the ball. And I think Auburn might be up for this game, considering they have Cadillac Williams, who's someone I think that the kids are going to want to play for. And that if they do pull the upset, they get to go to a bowl game. So, Auburn's got nothing to lose here, Joe. I don't, certainly if Alabama comes out and they're focused and they're ready to play, they could roll and win big in this one. But my lean would be more toward the opposite happening, where Auburn kind of throw it back to last year, right? Like, no one gave them a chance last year, and they almost pulled that off. I think it went 4 overtimes. So it's a rivalry game. These games are tough to predict. But if you're not sure, like I am in this one, I think you go with the 22 points. So I'll lean toward Auburn in the Iron Bowl. I think they probably find a way to keep it a little bit closer than the number suggests.
Yeah, they have certainly been competitive here now over the last few games. Bryan Power. It feels like a big ask here of Alabama here to run with it going away here by more than 3 touchdowns. What do you think happens in this matchup?
Well, Joe, you mentioned the Lane Kiffin rumors, and I started thinking, it's pretty obvious Auburn is going to look outside the program for its next head football coach. Does that affect the players who have been playing hard for Cadillac Williams? I don't know. Probably not. This is the Iron Bowl. And really, when you look at the question of motivation, is it Alabama who is maybe less interested in this game? Because this is the first time since the college football playoff began where Alabama's got no shot at the national semifinals. So, they could be the more disinterested side here. Now, the case for Alabama is, I think this number is short, at least according to my power rankings, a very prestigious list, as you know, Joe. And Nick Saban is also 6-1 at home versus Auburn, winning by an average of 25 points per game, almost 25, 24.7 to be exact. So that's just over this number. But Trig hit on this a little bit, and I wanted to follow up about kind of the current state of Alabama. listen to this. Over their last 18 SEC games, 11 have been either single-digit wins or outright losses. To put that number in perspective, that's the same number of single-digit wins, outright losses that they had in their previous 57 SEC games before the last 18. And in 11 of those last 18, 4 times, as they are here, the Tide were favored by at least 20 points. So this is not as strong as an edition of Alabama football as we're accustomed to seeing. So I've got no interest in playing the side. I'm not going to be playing this game in full candor. If I were to give a lean, it would be to the over. This is the second lowest over-under for any Alabama game this season. 51 points, I don't think that's a huge ask to get that. So if you are dying to play this game, I would lean towards the over. But no interest in the side.
Yeah, lean towards the over. I can go wrong given what we have seen from these two teams this year. Tony Finn, are you leaning on the side or a total in this matchup?
I'm leaning. I'd like to be leaning at I got a little email. I'd like to be leaning at is it Rama Jammas, that little hamburger joint right underneath the stadium there. I guess there were some rumors that Kiffin and Cadillac had meet last night. You know, in disguise, right? Trying to discuss what Cadillac's new responsibilities are going to be for the Auburn Tigers and probably running back coach or something. And I guess Todd Blackledge was there. Take notes, ask a question. But I listen. What we have here is we got an Auburn at Alabama Iron Bowl with a big side number, with a big spread number, and a small total. What they're saying essentially, with although it's climbed a little bit, moved to somewhat, but that Alabama's going to be the best they've been all year defensively, and they could be, because I don't see Auburn doing much other than running the football. That's under Williams, that's what they've done. They've run. That's what they've done. And Alabama has one of the best run defenses. If you're going to beat out Alabama, you got to beat them through the air, and you got to score points. And I just don't see Auburn doing that tomorrow. I'm not on either side. I'm not on the total. If I was, I would probably be contrary. I would be south of the total, only because I believe Bama. A lot of things they still have to play for. They're not playing for a championship. But Saban's pretty, from what I understand, I don't know him, never met him, but he's pretty fairly competitive and wants to win. So give me the under if I was anywhere near this game. I'll take the under, and we'll talk about side bets later on.
One under, one over, one keeping it within the number. So glad you guys agreed on so much. Let's move on. USC taking on Notre Dame here tonight. USC laying the 4.5, 63 as the total, 7:30 Eastern time. This is a pretty old rivalry, and one in which Notre Dame has had a little success here and there. So what about this year? I mean, Notre Dame's gotten better as the year has progressed here, Trig. 4.5, 5 is what I've been seeing in the marketplace. You think SC just runs them over? Or you think not so fast? Notre Dame's got a little surprise for him.
Joe, I just have to start by saying, and I don't play a ton of preseason futures because I really do think it messes with your ability to look at games clearly. I'm so happy that I bet USC so many different ways prior to seeing a lot of it out on Wager Talk programming for free. I have them to win the Pac-12, to make the college football playoff, and to win the national championship. And the reason is, Joe, it has saved me a fortune because every week I come on and I want to bet against this USC team, and I don't because of that. And it's like it saved me last week again with UCLA because they keep winning in spots where I would normally think they're overvalued and I would normally want to go against them. And I have to say I feel that way here again. I think if, it probably isn't going to make my card. If it does, I don't mind it because it would be a semi-hedge of sorts. But I like Notre Dame plus the points. I think this is just too many points in a game where, yeah, it is super meaningful for USC without a question. They're still in the running. They're going to go to the Pac-12 title game regardless, but they're in the running for the college football playoff. But Notre Dame, they really turned a corner when they came up to the Dome and ran Syracuse out of the Dome. They've been playing so much better, in my opinion, since then. And I've said this all year with Notre Dame. The games that you have to worry about Notre Dame in are the Marshalls, the UNLVs, the the Navies, like the games that they're heavy favored in, and then they typically don't win by margin. Stanford, right? Like somehow losing to that Stanford team. The spots you typically don't have to worry about Notre Dame are on the road as a 1-point dog against Syracuse, Clemson, who they blew out a couple weeks ago, and here. I think here is another spot where Notre Dame comes to play. It's their final game of the season. They have no championship game to look ahead to. And in all reality, this is probably a bigger game than their bowl game, or will be a bigger game than whatever bowl game they go to this year. So I love Notre Dame for all those reasons in this spot. At 5.5, I think it might be down to 4.5. I still think there's some value there. Listen, USC, they're a great story. They've way overachieved this season. They make plays. That's one thing. I would say Notre Dame, a big reason they'll be in this game is because USC their defense is going to let them stay in, but their defense does seem to find a way to make the big play like they did against UCLA last week. So it's probably not going to make my card, Joe. And that might be for selfish reasons because I'm so heavily invested in the USC. But I would lean toward Notre Dame plus a point here. You're not going to get me to lay 5 with USC in a game I think they could very well lose.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot, and timing is everything, Bryan Power. And I think Notre Dame, if they played them 5-6 weeks ago, we'd probably be having a different conversation. But they've gotten better each and every week here. They are in position to pull the upset. Do they pull that upset here against USC?
Well, the trends say yes. Kind of piggybacking off what Trigg had to say about Notre Dame, when you have to worry about them, when you don't. They're 4-0 against the number as a dog this season. 3-0 against top 25 teams. 25-13 against the number last 38 games against top 25 teams. So this is a spot you can count on the Irish. Unfortunately, I had UCLA last week, and that was a very frustrating 3.5-hour watch for yours truly. I saw every snap of the game. UCLA gets out to the early 14-0 lead. You're feeling good. USC actually had a turnover, and we need to talk about this turnover margin for the Trojans because this is bordering on the absurd. They are plus 21 in turnover margin this year. Not only is that number 1 in FBS, Joe, no other team is better than plus 14. They could get killed in the turnover margin in this game and still be number 1 in the country in that department. So Notre Dame, what I think you can count on them doing here better than UCLA is, one, they're not going to come in and look to trade points and get in a shootout with the Trojans. They play a lot slower. They're going to run the ball. And you can run the ball in this USC defense. I think this USC defense stinks in full candor. Obviously, they gave up a ton of points last week, but they got lucky with, lucky, I guess that's just words of a UCLA better. But they had a lot of interceptions. Notre Dame's defense has not allowed 400 total yards in a game all year, just 20.2 points per game. Yes, Southern Cal offense has some serious firepower, but have they faced a defense this good all year? I don't think so. And if not for the 2 head-scratching losses earlier in the season that Trigg referenced, Marshall and Stanford, I believe Notre Dame is still the only team in the country that has lost twice outright as a double-digit favorite. I know that was the case a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if anyone joined them in that regard. Their only loss would be at Ohio State, a game that was close, and they'd be in the college football playoff conversation as well. So I like the points here. 5 straight weeks of 35-plus points with the Fighting Irish, so they can score 2. And like I said, shorten the game, bad USC defense. They can stay under the number easily and win it outright, quite frankly.
That's a lot of truth in that. I mean, it should be a good one, though, Tony Finn. Or do you think USC just too much firepower here? Especially if Notre Dame's got to try and play catch-up here. That wouldn't be a good scenario, would it?
No, to your point, no, it wouldn't be a good scenario. But that's likely what's going to happen. It's happened. Brian's right about the turnover margin. USC's turnover is absurd. It's ridiculous. It's beyond. It's animated to a degree. But they themselves create that situation. They get the lead. Other teams get outside of their skill set or outside of what they do best and trying to throw the ball. That catch-up ball you just mentioned. And that creates a lot of their turnovers. And I'd love to say that last week I had a 5%er on that game. Unlike my partners here, I was on the over, which was, of course, commented to me many times as being absolutely absurd to be playing over that number that the odd makers put it at. And then, of course, Joe, I followed your advice, and, I made an alternate total. And I said, well, let's do over 100, but they didn't make it over 100. But pretty damn close. And midnight in the low, one more touchdown, we're over 100 in that, right? Notre Dame, they're going to run the ball. They can't possibly win this thing unless they run the ball and keep the USC offense off the field. They've been dismissed. It's easy to dismiss this team. They lost to Marshall, right? They started on 2, lost to Marshall. And Stanford, Lord have mercy. Their passing attack's just not consistent enough. They're 6-0 when they run more than 200 yards, or they run rush for more than 200 yards. But are they going to have the opportunity? Can Notre Dame continue to run the football, guys, in the second quarter if they're down 21 points? And I'm telling you, I think, personally, I believe that this quarterback and this offense at USC is that good. It's that good, and you create your own luck in life and football, like anything. And any luck that USC's had, they've created. And I like them to continue to do that against a Notre Dame team that probably is going to fall victim to what everyone else has against USC, and that's playing outside their skill set. Give me USC minus the number.
All right, laying it with SC is Tony Finn. That means we've got one more game here to take a look at, and one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football here, the old Civil War, Oregon State taking on Oregon in Corvallis, a notoriously, especially recently, impossible place to win at here. Oregon laying 3 here, 59 as the total. And Oregon State on the road is one thing, Trig. Oregon State in Corvallis this year is just a whole nother animal. As a dog, what do you think of Beav's chance here of handling business?
I like their chances, Joe. First of all, if you're backing Oregon, not only do you have to go on the road to Oregon State, where they've covered the spread, I think, in 9 straight games. I think they've won 9 of their last 10, maybe straight up in Corvallis. And you have to lay a field goal, and you have to worry about Bo Nix if he's healthy. If he's not, he's probably going to play. But is he banged up? Is he at 100%? And Bo Nix leads the country with 72.9 completion percentage. He leads the Pac-12 in passing efficiency. So his status, whether he plays or not, if it's compromised a little bit, that would be concerning to me. And I think that I'm willing to take a shot that he's not 100%, which would mean a shot on Oregon State plus the points. You've already referenced how good they've been at home. Stole this from the playbook, so let's give credit. Mark Lawrence, underdog of 7 or less at home, 6-1 against the spread, and that's what they fall into that subset here as a 3-point underdog. It's another one of the huge rivalry games, and they've been much closer in this rivalry than they were for a few years. I believe they won it maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it's a huge game for them on their home field. They have the ability to run the ball. I think their rushing offense is great. And I've come around a little bit on Gulbranson. I thought that he was a pretty big drop initially, when he took over at the quarter position. But I think he's sort of rounded into form as the Beavers quarterback. So I don't really discount them as much as I was, for the quarterback change. So Oregon State +3. I think there's a little bit of value here with Oregon State at home, with how good they've been at home, and just with how big this game is for Oregon. Coming off of the huge win last week, to have to go on the road and essentially do it again, I think is challenging. So I'll take the 3 points here with Oregon State. I think the Beavers not only have a chance to hang around in this game, I think they're going to find a way to get it done.
Tough spot here, Bryan Power, for Oregon. No, the Ducks, Nix ain't 100%. We know that. Now, they great win last week. Now they got to go on the road and take on the old arch rival here in the old Civil War. Who do you give the edge to here?
When I was getting ready for the show and looking at this game, my take was, this is an easy pass. I don't really have much interest in playing in this one. It's not going to be on my card, but, listen to Trig, and as I dug deeper into the numbers, it's a lot easier to make a case for Oregon State because the game is in Corvallis, okay? They have one loss at home since the start of last season. It was to SC earlier in the year, and that was, a 3-point game? I think that wound up. They covered the spread. They've actually covered the spread in every home game since the start of last year. So highly profitable in Corvallis. Interesting. They run the ball a lot. Oregon State over 60% of the time, play at a very slow pace, fourth slowest in the entire country, in fact. Yet this number's been bet up a couple points, despite the questionable status of Bo Nix. That had me scratching my head just a little bit. We know the motivation for Oregon here. They need to win to go to the Pac-12 championship game, or they're going to have to be watching the TV with the rest of us at night, Joe, hoping Washington loses at Wazoo in the Apple Cup. Nix isn't the only Oregon injury concern either. Offensive line. Starting center missed the game last week. Another offensive lineman got hurt in that game as well. It's a lean. I'm not playing it, like I said, but I think you got to take the points or do nothing here.
Yep. All right. Points or nothing here. How about you, Tony Finn? The home dog in the Civil War here, or you taking the favorite?
I'll say this. What Bryan Power just outlined is a lot that's almost how I feel about it. He wasn't quite as passionate. I can be passionate about backing Oregon State. This is my free pick for the day, so maybe we'll just wait and I'll outline it so we can get through this programming, get to work in the free picks section.
Perfect. All right, let's do it then here, guys. You know the routine. We got best bets here on what is going to be an exciting card. Looks like Texas ran away with it on Baylor. Great one with Tulane and Cincinnati. Plenty of great action still to come here today. And you can visit all three of these guys at wagertalk.com. Make sure you hop on board that 7-day all-access pass. Get every one of their best bets today, tomorrow, Sunday. 7 days, just $69. Do not miss a best bet from these guys. Take advantage of that now. Talk to us here, Jake. What's the best bet for the show today?
Well, I'll throw it in quick because it's going to start in a minute. I posted a 4%er on Missouri plus 3.5, which I posted earlier in the week. It's going to go in a couple of minutes. I tweeted out a video on that, so you can get that on my Twitter. I just wanted to mention it because it's about to start. Best bet for the show is going to be Oregon State, Joe. They haven't given up a first quarter point in 5 games. Their defense has been excellent. Their whole team's to roughly 20, 21 points per game. And they run the ball, which means they can keep that Oregon State offense on the sidelines. They can sustain drives and potentially, chew a block via the run. They've also covered 9 straight at home, and I believe they're on a 9-1 straight up one at home in their last 10 games. Oregon State plus 3. We don't fully know the status of Bo Nix, but we do know he's banged up. I'm sure he'll play. I'm sure he won't be at 100%, and I think that's an issue. Oregon State plus 3. I like him to win this game. I'll take the 3 points. Best bet for the show.
Boom. There you go. All right, Bryan Power, talk to us here. Which way are you leaning for a best bet?
Well, Joe, is it truly happy hour on Wager Talk TV unless someone on the panel tells you to bet against TCU?
Yes.
So with that being in mind, I will do that right here. Stop me when you've heard this before. A lot of luck for TCU to get to 11-0. 7-point win over Kansas. 3-point win over Oklahoma State, 10-point win over Kansas State, and they were trailing in that game. 10-point win over WVU with the ridiculous cover on the late touchdown. 10-point win over Texas Tech. Again, they were down in the fourth quarter of that game. 7-point win over Texas, who was completely inept offensively. Didn't even look like they practiced that week on the offensive side of the ball. And then last week, of course, the closest call of them all, a last-second win at Baylor. Thankfully, I had the points in that one, so I can say that I have cashed against TCU this year. And let's do it again. Joe, I brought it up many times in the past on the program. A lot of opposing quarterbacks have gotten hurt against TCU this year. 6, in fact. I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on the internet, but I had a 7th unofficial injury going back to that Texas game. Steve Sarkisian, brain dead. Still don't understand what happened to that game. Was so upset that Saturday night watching that one live. And this is going to be the first time that the Horned Frogs are a double-digit favorite in a Big 12 game all year. It's the first time they've been a double-digit favorite or against an FBS team against Colorado. That dumpster fire. That was the season opener. 10th game in a row without a bye. Fatigue is a factor. We've got some banged-up guys on the offensive side of the ball. And this Iowa State team is in many ways the anti-TCU. 1-6 in games decided by one possession this season. Matt Campbell is 5-18 against the spread his last 23 games with a spread of 3.5 or less, favored or a dog. But the spread is not 3.5 or less, is it, Joe? It is double digits. Nope. Just the second time in 2022 the Cyclones are getting 10 or more. The first, they covered against Texas, losing by only 3. And Matt Campbell's got, I believe, the best record among all active FBS coaches as a double-digit dog. I know the Cyclones can't go to a bowl, but they're going to treat this as their bowl game. And all we're asking, I talked about this game with Teddy and Prez on Wager Talk TV, or Wager Talk Today, pardon me, which is on Wager Talk TV, of course. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. All we're asking for is a normal game. Because combined, these teams have seen 15 of 22 games decided by 10 points or less. Yep. So give me one-score game, and we're covered here. Iowa State, plus the points. They have beaten TCU 3 straight times, oh, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, Matt Campbell, finally, can he break through and do what nobody else has been able to do? Should be an interesting one for sure there. Tony Finn, you mentioned Corvallis, Oregon State. Tell us your best bet.
Well, before I get in that, and I'm sure I will not go over my 60 seconds, is that I think we should go ahead and start a plate or a fund me for Mr. Powers for stepping in front of the TCU locomotive. I admire him for doing such. Really quickly, OSU. All I had to say, this is a big game for both teams. It really is. Before Jonathan Smith arrived, this was the Beavers were a fade. I mean, they were a blind fade for me for many, many times over the last 8 years at Wager Talk here. It's different now, and the better coach finds a way to win this game. Jonathan Smith. In revenge situations, he's been terrific. But let's just do this. Oregon State, home dog, last 7, as long as the 7 points are fewer, 6-1. OSU 9-1 straight up, 9-0 against the spread. The last 10 home games, and it's just add one to that, guys. You look at how this team's played. They played everyone tough this year, except for Utah. It's a bad spot for Knicks. They're beat up. Give me Corvallis, Oregon State Beavers plus the points.
Go with the Beavs here to get it done, guys. There it is. Best bet across the board. Iowa State for Bryan Power. Trig likes Oregon State. Here's Tony Finn. Trig's also got a little something rolling here with Mizzou against Arkansas getting ready to kick off here, guys, if you're interested in that. But don't forget, take advantage of that 7-day all-access package available now. That's right. It won't be around forever. What a great weekend it would be to get 7 days, every play, including 5% best bets, a week's worth, guys, now for just $69. You can get all 3 of these guys, Adam Trigger, Bryan Power, and Tony Finn. And let's make it a very, very profitable holiday weekend. It is feast week, guys. Let us do just that. Certainly hope it has been profitable thus far, but I hope you'll come back as we say goodbye to the regular season here of the college football kickoff show. We will have some conference championships and, of course, a lot of bowl action to talk about in the coming weeks. And until then, on behalf of Adam, Brian, and Tony, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Best of luck with your plays this weekend. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a good one.
Do you want to bet this college football bowl season alongside Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels? Well, we have you covered. When you look among the list of our handicappers, some are known more for specific sports, and when you mention college football, two that jump out are Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels. Mr. Dave Koken has been the all-time profit leader in college football since he joined Wager Talk, and while the regular seasons have been profitable, his performance in the bowls have been even better, going 45-22-1. That's 67%. Ralph Michaels was a previous general manager of Phil Steele Publications, voting on all significant college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy, before joining Wager Talk. Ralph's run and bowl action has been stellar, going 44-20. That's 69%. Our bowl package price will be $199 with the $149 early bird. You can lock in Dave and Ralph's both for only $198, coming out to just $99 each. That's Dave's 68% and Ralph's 69% bowl records, including any 5% best bets released in bowl season for just $198. Access will cover any college football releases from the Bahama Bowl on Friday, December 16th, through the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday, January 9th, from both Ralph Michaels and Dave Koken, and include any 5% best bets. So act fast before pricing goes back to regular price.